Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. If you like my channel, please like and subscribe. There's a notifications bell down at the corner. Um, so I just want to say I've got some amazing updates. And I'm going to start it out by saying, first and foremost, if you have a problem with emotions, this might not be the vlog to watch. I am feeling very emotional, like I often am. And so there may be some emotions expressed. And sometimes people feel that, you know, they'll say, don't cry, things like that. If I cry, I cry. If I laugh, I laugh. This vlog is all about everything. So, and just know that tonight is a night that I might be feeling a little emotional. Um, Hello, Hadnot from Texas. I'm in Seattle. So, okay. Well, the last couple days, I'm like trying to like place. Um, so I'm gonna go and just kind of go down the list. I um the other day I was told by an anonymous person that a large donation was made to a nonprofit in my name. And I will be honest. Hi, Blair. I will be honest. It 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 floored me, of course. Um, but also it's very humbling. Like I remember when really I started understanding the impact that I had, and a lot of it just really led to saving my life. And it really started with like my older sister, my foster sister, contacting me when I was really going through it, before I was homeless, and said, you know, you're the reason that I'm doing and all these good works, because she's an amazing person. I could go on and on about her. She's like this Sherry Bolter. She's awesome. But then I started realizing that the kind acts really has ripples, and a lot of people don't get to feel that. And so to have, like, I remember when Shanika, she was giving out meals and asked me, and it was right as I'd gotten housed, and she'd asked me for a saying because she was handing them out in my name. And I've had global responses to passing on kindness, and I think that it's worth it. It's worth it. The thing is, so, see, there's that emotional thing. It doesn't matter really why someone's kind. I mean, as long as it's true kindness, there is such thing as like manipulation and all this other stuff. But in the spirit of true kindness, there's no way that that doesn't create more and more. And if you look at just in my own life, by people being kind to me, because I didn't get here by myself. I didn't hop, skip, and jump into a place after living homelessness. This was a team effort to get me to where I am. And I never want to forget that throughout my life in vulnerable situations, there has been amazing people that have lifted me up and been kind and loving and giving. And then I realized that I could be that. I could be that kind. I could be that giving. I could be that loving. And then I started to see the ripples. And so when this happened and I was told that, it was a really big deal to me, you know? Um, just was. So, in the spirit of anonymity, thank you. Um, oh, so a lot of time has been spent, and I will be honest, I have like screwed off for a couple hours just looking at stuff for me and my daughter to do while she's here. We've decided though, okay, and it's funny because I was like, "Hey, Seattle's got a selfie museum," and she was like, "We have to go." I'm like, "I know, right? Like, I'm gonna bring the big camera." And and Gypsy had come up, and I was telling Gypsy, I was like, "We're gonna go to the Seattle Selfie Museum," and this look crossed her face. I said, "See, that's why I knew you would want to go with me." But then I was thinking of these things, and I thought, I have a friend who's a professor, and he is an expert on vehicle residency, and you should check him out. His name is Graham Press. Amazing professor. Um, and so I was wondering, if she'd want to come sit in on one of his classes. And so I was like, "Hey, are you teaching, 7th through 11th?" And he's like, "Yeah." And we set up a date, and he's like, "Well, would you mind like speaking to my students?" Which I do from time to time. That doesn't bother me at all. And I was like, "Sure." And then I thought about it. I was like, "Oh, let me ask my daughter." So I I talked to her, and I was like, "Would you like? I know you'd want to sit in, but like I'm going to be talking about my experience in front of the students, and I don't have to do that if you're not there, or I don't have to let people know that you're my daughter." She goes, "What?" I said, "I don't know if you're embarrassed because I the last thing I want to do after being in that situation is embarrass her further." And and so I always had this feeling of being enough. And she said, "Absolutely not, of course." And yes, I'm your daughter, whatever. And I was like, this huge weight had been lifted, and it felt really good. And so I'm really excited again about that whole thing. Like I said, it's going to be an emotional episode. Hey, Thomas. Okay. Ooh, calm down. Rowan's just like, whatever. um, so then I wake up this morning, and I was telling you last vlog about uh, Bill and Carol who had donated to my vehicle fund. And I woke up this morning, and Kurt O, I like, again, I don't know who wants to remain anonymous, so I'm just gonna like be like, thank you. Um, I'm a tenth of the way there, like a little over a tenth of the way, and it would definitely provide it, a good, reliable used vehicle and insurance and garage fees. And it was just something to wake up to. It's just like people can't tell me that being a good, kind person and working your butt off for the betterment of people doesn't make life better. Like, it doesn't matter. I Even in the supportive messages and the loving thoughts and the joy, sometimes. um so yeah, being that's a huge deal for me. It's Thank you everybody for believing in me and believing in what I do. And that was the next thing was, Bill had helped in donating to my personal fund for getting food and things so I can get some things stocked up, because I am one of those, and I'm kind of getting a little, I'm not going to lie, I'm getting a little antsy, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute because I'm going to talk about what I spent my day doing. I just had to be like, I just had to say thank you. I just had to say thank you. And then, I got a card from Sandy. Thank you so very much. I see you all the time, just rooting for me, liking my stuff. And for all of you that do that, thank you. Kate came out with, like, hey, make sure you wipe things down, things like, just people caring. It's wonderful. Liz making sure that I take my meds in the morning. That's important. um, what do I think about the coronavirus, if that's how you spell it? Okay, I'm going to actually get into that. First and foremost, I work with people who are directly connected to information. In other words, people who are epidemiologists and medical anthropologists and healthcare workers. So I think that there's a huge difference where you get your information, okay? I think that the information source is huge. Joe Blow at wherever, you know, insert whatever thing that is not directly related to the science of viruses or virology and transmission. I think their opinion may be what it is. They can have their opinion about it. But today, for example, it started yesterday, and I'm immunosuppressed myself. Now, the coronaviruses are responsible for a number of things. It's just like it's like a big umbrella of all these different ones. This is a new one, okay? This isn't the stuff that's on the Lysol container. This is a new one. And it has nothing to do, the reason it's named Corona is because it has like a crown thing on it. And that's Spanish for crown, I think. Um, like I said, but here's the deal. And this is what I spent my day doing, because I am so mad. Like, oh, I was so mad. So yesterday I told, just as a passerby, we have a lot of, in our building, we have a lot of people like me who are immunosuppressed, and or they're seniors, like people who are really vulnerable. Okay. And I think that a lot of people are thinking about this from a position of privilege according to health. If you're a healthy person, you're probably not real worried about it. It's probably not going to be a big deal for you. But if you're in that percentage that's vulnerable, such as the unhoused, and I will get to that in just a moment, because believe me, I spent the day fighting for my demographic. Oh, but anyhow, I think that when we come from a position of health and we're like, well, why is everybody worried about it? I'm not worried about it. I'll be fine. Look at this, look at this. It's like, well, put yourself in the position of those that are. I take medication that I can't be around that at all. At all, at all. I'm not supposed to be around any catchy thing. I have to have my flu vaccine. I have to have my pneumonia vaccine. And when people say things like that, it's like they're saying, I don't care about you. I don't care about your life. Because here's the thing, they don't view me as someone that they would think. Because in their head, everybody's got this vision or idea of what that looks like. You can't tell sometimes who's vulnerable. And that's why we have to protect everyone. That's why that's so desperately important. And so yesterday, I went down to the office because I know the risk. I had just gotten off the phone with a friend that had just had a meeting, sat in a meeting about it. And I was like, listen, it's very important that the basic line of defense is you remind our building cleaners to clean the door handles. Like, that's a big thing. I don't think they do that anyway. So I was like, please clean the door handles. Like, that's a huge thing. It's just a reduction of risk. If we can do anything for the vulnerable people that live in our building, please do that. And refill the Purell things. Like, how hard is that? And he rolled his eyes at me. And I was like, okay, fine. So I waited and I waited till today. And I was like, hey, I texted the maintenance guy and I was like, so did you get the message to wash down the door handles and things? Oh, no. I was like, but you're talking about replacing light fixtures outside my door with like management. This isn't making sense. He's like, I don't have anything to do with it. I'm like, I know, but, and he's like, we'll do it. Like, thank you for letting us know. We'll do it. And I was like, that's fine. But I was a little peeved at the response of the building manager to completely dismiss because it didn't affect him. And that's such an issue. So I was looking at our response plan, of course, because we have, if wherever we have emergency preparedness plans. Okay. Ours was being released through King County. So I asked public health, I said, what about our unhoused? The problem here is baseline defense, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your neighbor's hands, wash everybody's hands, wash the hands. Okay. Wash hands. It's that simple. Wash your hands. That right there, just for health, and this is healthy people, immunosuppressed and things like this. This is a different group. We're not talking about the outliers. The majority of people just wash your hands. But then we forget that we have an entire demographic of people without access to basic hygiene. People that can't wash their hands. People that can't wash themselves. What are we going to do? The rate of transmission in shelters is going to be insane. And when we're dealing with the unhoused, we're dealing a lot of times with a very health vulnerable population. And so I was really concerned. So I started like first throwing out tidbits. And then I found out that they said the response was through healthcare for the homeless network. And I was like, okay. So I'd never heard of them, which is strange because this is my life. And I was like, okay, I went on there and I looked and I was like, it's a referral agency. How is a referral agency? Please tell me how they are going to come up with a plan for our unhoused. I would get public health. I would get any of that, but public health is referring me to a referral agency. It blew my mind. So I started throwing a fit because I can do that. And immediately I called the mayor's office. Of course, they were having a high influx of calls. And I left a message and called other departments and nobody was answering their phones. So I started blowing up social media about it. And so yeah, we've got some emergency managers on it and stuff. So there will be a plan. The issue I have is there already should have been one. Why did we forget about an entire population? It's like we didn't even exist. Like, I don't think anything screams you don't matter like being forgotten out of a emergency response plan for a pandemic. Like, oops. Well, sorry for the language, but man. So yeah, that's what I spent most of the day doing. And then amazingly though, it was absolutely gorgeous out. Me and Roan got a good long walk in. I love it. Cherry blossoms are out everywhere. But also there was somebody who wanted to know more about homeless services and how to get involved, and how he can enact others to get involved and form a network of other people and use his resources to get involved. And so um, I pretty much just spewed all my resources and been like, hey, and blew him up there for a second and said, hey, that's good enough. If you got any questions, get a hold of me. So I have to say, life is good. And I gotta say, thank you for spreading kindness. Thank you so much for spreading kindness. And had not very funny. Ava, what do I think about Trump? Ava, this is not the forum for me to get into that discussion. And I think if anyone took the time to go through my videos, you would pretty much know where I stand on just about every single issue, including human rights. Human rights, I don't care. There's no argument. I don't debate about human rights. I refuse. There is no debate to me. Human and environmental rights, no debate. No debate. It isn't like chocolate and vanilla ice cream. Which one do you like better? I refuse to debate human rights. So whatever that means, take that as you will. Anybody else have any questions? But you know what? Thank you, Blair. It was definitely, I feel it was definitely meant to start something. And I am reminded, and somebody very recently reminded me, that we have to reach across at some point and try to understand one another. But we don't have to agree. That's fine. I'm still going to be the absolute warrior for the vulnerable, always. I will always be a warrior for the vulnerable as long as I live. And I hope that that changes the world in a really positive way, you know? But questions like that, I think, are meant to, it's very obvious where people stand if you listen to them, if you hear them. And it shows a lack of listening, a lack of hearing. It doesn't matter really what I think of an individual person. It doesn't. What matters is what I fight for. What matters is what I stand for. And right now, I'm telling you, I stand for human rights. It isn't a singular person. It's bigger than that. Valerie, heart back. Any other questions? All right. No questions. All right, everybody. Thank you for sticking with me through all my emotional stuff. There was a lot to be thankful for in the last couple days. And how is the dog doing? Oh, this is great. Hold on. Robin, what you doing? Hey, can you say hi? You want to say hi? She is a little irritated if I keep doing that. You might not been able to hear it, but she was sighing, which usually means that she's like 2 seconds away from getting up and moving. I try not to irritate her because I like cuddling with her. Um, uh, you have a lab named right. Labs are so great. Dogs are great. I love them. You have a good night too. Um, for everybody else, though, just remember in the descriptions are ways to help out. Thank you for everybody that's been donating to the vehicle fund. It's a huge deal for me. It really is. I can't even say how much it would help just in the growth level of what I can do. And then just personal level too. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. So anyhow, it's all in there. And I will talk to you all later. Bye. Oh, and I think wonderful things are coming up. Like I really do. But that might be because my daughter's coming to visit. I'm not sure. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.